Now we'll start the battle. You can see the infantry immediately man the ramparts by themselves, and then they take it upon themselves to fire at targets that are within cannon range. And take your mortars and fire them basically at the center of the bulk of the army that you're facing. You could also fire them on the ground where you think your enemy might be. And before long, you'll open up some volleys on your foe. Now, if you want to fire at a specific enemy unit,
Revolutionary Guard!
click on one of your units and then right click. If they're in cannon range, your unit should open up fire on them. Of course, your units could always retreat and fall back to some other section of the fort and try to shoot if the enemy is out of the cannon range where they were located. So you just call them back to the original location. That unit that I told to fire out here at one of the enemy that ran back down the bridge is back in position. Now you try to tell it to fire at somebody else. I find that double clicking the run after you do that usually helps out. And here they are manning the cannons again. You could try putting them back into position in the corner again. As long as you fire at somebody that's outside of musket range and within cannon range, you should be okay. You do have to do some micromanaging though. But with a little bit of practice, you can get them to do what you want. As you can see, they've remanned the cannons. The trick is, once you get your units set up on the fortifications where you want them, and once you start the battle, pretty much leave them alone, unless you're going to move them to another section of the fort. Try to micromanage too much, what will happen is your units will disperse, they'll run to another section of the fort, and then basically you got to set them all up again. It's best just to let the AI take over at this point and manage the battle for you. Then just move your artillery to fire at different enemy units, and then use your reserve to counter any flanking attacks along the sides of the rear that the enemy will ultimately try. Now here, I'll try to get this unit to fire their cannons. Now they're manning the cannons, but for some reason they're not too anxious to fire them. So you try a few different times, and a few different units. And as long as they don't move out of that area, they'll eventually fire at something. I'll try to get this unit to fire over the ramparts at these enemy units that have moved up to the bastion. And the British regulars that I just told to fire on this unit have manned the ramparts more evenly and have opened up volley fire on the enemy. Now, of course, one of the problems with mortars is that they're not too accurate. They're more of an aerial weapon. And they could hit your own troops. For example, a lot of these casualties here were due to my medium mortars being a little bit less accurate than I needed. So what I'm going to do is have them fire one more volley, and then I'm going to have them fire at other units that are further away. too short range like they are here, take one of your units, click on the enemy, like I said, double click the double time button, even if they are already on run, click again, and then they'll usually, your units will man the ramparts and open up fire on your foe. Now sometimes it's not a bad idea to use your cannons and mortars in an anti-battery roll. So you click on the ground, or you could click on one of the enemy battery units and kind of hope for the best. Here my heavy mortars have opened up fire. And the result is usually a real scatter shot, but you might always get lucky. And since you've grouped your units in sequence from left to right, occasionally you go down the line and see what everybody's doing. You can tell this unit is moved out of place again. Now why they keep moving out of place could be different reasons. They are provisional troops, so maybe they just have morale problems. You just move them back again where you want, and as you can see, it's usually a good idea. Once you get somebody in position, just kind of leave them alone and let the AI take over. You could try firing them again at somebody that's out of musket range but within cannon range. Double click on the run command and then see what they're going to be up to. Yeah, they kind of want to just stand there, so I'll try firing at somebody a little closer. And they seem to be moving back into position. Another one of the big problems people seem to have with fortification battles is how quickly and easily the enemy can assault the walls with ropes. I've had them do that, but not too often. I think if you could group your men up on the walls in a thick density like this, it kind of makes the enemy AI rather reluctant to storm the walls. And it seems that about 8 out of 10 of my fortification battles, the computer AI doesn't even make a single attempt to storm my walls because of the density of the troops I have out there. But I could be wrong about this. Now that I got my infantry on the walls where I want them, and they seem to be stable, they're not running around from place to place, and they're actually occasionally firing some muskets or cannons at the enemy, I'll concentrate on routing some of these weaker troops, like these two guys, who have already taken quite a bit of casualties. So what I'll do is take my cavalry and move them off here at a double pace, and I'll try to attack that infantry in the rear. Now since I'm going to charge these cavalry, I'm going to put them on melee only and face them in the direction I want them to charge. And since I'm so light on cavalry, I'll also do the same thing with my general's cavalry. Now that my cavalry's in position, I'll give the enemy infantry one more blast with my mortars, and then I'll charge home.